Today we're going to get a Apple Industries face placing machine up and running, get all the wires connected. We're going to get it connected up for an Embed swiper system to work with our facility. Let's get started. So to reduce a little stress on the system, rather than, I think there should be a 12 volt power supply coming from the bill acceptor, at least it said in the wiring diagram. There's a 12 volt, should be a 12 volt line. But I chose to use a transformer from Radio Shack. I went ahead and located my, which would be my positive and my negative line for my ground basically, and I connected that into the harness that goes to the Embed swiper systems. So my black would be my ground. There was more lines across here, as you can see by the green insulation, like liquid electrical tape, and that's where I cut all the other excess lines out and went ahead and coated them to protect them. But you only are going to need basically pins 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. So that's what I trimmed it down to, because you're if I can get the proper orientation here for you. And if I flip it up and over, so basically from this position, with the tab is to myself right now, your one pin is actually going to be away from the tab side. So you got your 1 orange, and your 2, which is another orange, then your 3, which is a black ground, 4 black ground, 7 should be orange and black, which would be your coin no, and 8 yellow and black, which would be your coin com. So with the 12 volt transformer already crimped into the line right here, so your ground, which is basically pin number 2, is what we got hooked up here. I got pin 2, there's a ground, goes to the negative, and pin number 1 in the orange, which is your 12 volt direct current, goes to the positive side of the transformer plug. I'm going to use this bolt right here in the center of that light. That is one of the bolts that is connected to the $5 cost symbol for the actual payout of to use the machine. See it's located right there. So I'm going to measure down off of that to the base of the bill acceptor. See how far we've got. Looks about like 3 inches is what I'm going to go to make sure that I miss that bill acceptor for tapping that Embed card swiper system in. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, because we said it was 3 inches down from wherever we want to put that Embed card swiper, I've got a sheet of regular paper here, 8.5 by 11. I'm going to mark down 3 inches on the sheet on one of the corner sides here. I'm going to take that sheet and fold it in half at that spot. Or not in half, just fold it at that spot. So that fold should be a 3 inch. Yes. Alright. Then we go ahead and tip it up, and we'll rest our Embed card swiper system on it, right where it butts into the top of that fold. Try and hold it as square as you can. Now that it's flat against that paper fold, I'll go ahead and trace around it. All 4 sides. Just to secure it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some tape on it just to hold it to the paper until I do my next step. so that should at least hold it where it's at. Don't really need this excess part on the bottom. I'm going to remove that and get it out of my way. I'm just going to flip this over, and if you use the light a little bit, you can see right where the holes are going to be through the Embed card swiper system. Sorry about that. And we'll go ahead and poke our pencil through so I know where to line up my marks. So there's for my 4 screw holes. Now I still have to line up where my phone cord goes. I just encircle this, I'll just draw around this square. Okay, so now I've got my template. I'll go ahead and mark a crosshair for the dead center of that. Alright. So now you can see that I've got my template set up. Now I can detach the swiper. And I'll use my spare tape, and I will take this on the inside, and we'll set this up for where we got to drill. Alright, so now we're on the inside of the scene machine, and as you can see, I've got my credit cards up here, I got my bill acceptor here, and here are the 2 screws that we went off of the inside that I want to be 3 inches below the base where I put my actual card swiper system. So I've got the 3 inches, which is indicated by the fold that I made earlier. There's a it's kind of bright, but I got a 3-inch span right there. Go ahead and set the sheet of paper. Try and center my image up with the bills and everything. Alright, so that's where my pattern should be. Good, now another scrap piece of tape to hold this flat. It's pretty well centered. I'm going to bring it a little bit more in. So I'd say we're pretty good and we're set up. So I'm going to go ahead and pencil mark my main 4 screw holes, and I'll give myself a center point for this phone cable connection. Just scratch that one in. Alright, so we're all set up to drill. Went ahead and did a smaller hole where my large phone cable goes. It just makes it easier for my next bit to go through. I gotta drill a little bit out to the side to give myself more of a oval shape. Hopefully that'll do it. Alright, doing one more little trick. I'm going to put my pattern back up here and I'm going to draw a pencil mark at the top where my swiper should be located. And what I'm going to do is, there's kind of a one-man band here just for the moment. I'm going to see if I can get myself set up with my swiper to install the screws on my own from the other side. Just a little clear packing tape to hold it at the top while I go on the other side and insert my screws in the holes. So now we're back on the inside, right underneath the bill acceptor. I'm going to go ahead and install the screws to hold the swiper into place. Get this bill acceptor terminal out of my way for the moment. And I'm going to use a hand screwdriver just because a drill I think might just shove it back off the other side for now. Tight spot in here. Let's get this. Go ahead and remove the other bill acceptor as well. So I've at least got two. It looks like I'm going to have an issue with my lower quadrant here. Looks like my phone cable is going to be fine. Phone cable's great. Just got one screw here I'm going to have to alter on this opposite side. So I'll go ahead and clean that up a little bit and everything else should work fine. Alright, so I cleaned up that last lower bottom hole, made it to hit proper for the alignment. Got the cable all hooked up to the swiper, so everything's good there. We'll go ahead and put our bill acceptor box back on. And we'll go ahead and plug back in our terminal cord. Nice and easy, don't want to bend up any pins. Alright, now we're on to the fun part. The real reason why I set this up or created this video, trying to wire this is quite a task, at least to make sure I didn't fry anything. Apple Industries was giving me one direction and Embed was giving me the other direction, but I'll start off with what I figured out. I got a main I/O board back here that Apple Industries led me to, and there's a terminal on the back of it. I'm going to unplug it and bring it up. And there's only 3 lines going into it. I'll get it where we can see here better. So I've got the 3 lines going into this, basically a blue, an orange, and a gray. Now Apple Industries told me that I need to connect my Embed ground wire to the blue one, which is their ground wire, and I need to insert my pulse wire, credit pulse wire, into the 4th pin terminal here in this setup. Now, Embed's wiring diagrams on their harness for their swipers, you know, it's a different terminology from both places, so I had to do a little research, and thanks to Brady Arcade, they helped me iron it out. Brady, the middleman in this system, seemed like they were very willing to try and do a little bit more. Embed, I could see how their hands were tied because they couldn't hook it up unless they knew what exact wires were. And Apple Industries tech support was just calling it a ground and a pulse, which, as I'll show you on my wiring diagram. Here's Embed's wiring diagram for their information. Well, the only thing I have marked out as a ground here is pin number 3 and 4, which one's basically incoming to power the system. The other one goes out to power the transmitter, radio transmitter. So I think 1 and 3 operate to power up the system, and 2 and 4 send it out to the actual radio transmitter. So the ground here, the only thing I have that's called a ground here, I tried that wouldn't hook up right, because then the entire system wouldn't function. It didn't actually make the circuit. So I couldn't connect what Embed is calling a ground to Apple Industries ground, because it didn't communicate right. It wasn't the right system. So what it ended up coming down to be, to simplify this for everybody, your yellow and black, which is your coin comm out of pin 8, it needs to go to that is going to connect into the blue ground in this terminal plug I just showed you. Now the orange and black, the coin no, through Embed's wiring diagram, is the one that is going to go to pin 4, which ended up being my pulse. And this is just all to simplify this for anybody else to not have to struggle through a week and a half of trying to figure out what to do this right, so I didn't fry our brand new photo scene machine. I'm going to go through, and I got a bunch of zip ties all around this terminal plug wire. I'm going to cut those free. I want to free it up, and we're going to integrate our Embed wires into the system, and then we'll zip tie it all back together, and we'll get this going and all set up. Alright, so I've got everything routed the way I want it, wire-wise, coming up through here, and I got all the that terminal that I got to work on right here in front of me. We're going to do the easiest one first. So we're going to go ahead and connect the yellow and black straight into this blue ground that they have here. We'll just splice it back here this way, just to give myself a little bit of room. The machine is unplugged and powered off. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this blue ground right in the middle. And if you haven't seen one of these before, these are those Cat 5 connectors. In case you have a split in a Cat 5, you can connect them back up. They fit perfectly. These lines fit perfectly up inside here. This is a 3-line connector. So I'm going to go ahead and stick a blue inside one side. You don't even have to splice the line or strip the lines. Just feed them straight in. Make sure it seats all the way to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and load my 2 blues back in. And then I'm going to load that yellow and black, just to make sure my wires aren't crossed. So it's all going to lay down flat when I put it back together. And we'll turn around, look at the back. Yep, all 3 wires are bottomed out in the top here. Now I can compress it. One side of the button pressed in, but I'm going to compress the other side. Just work your way around it. Alright, both pressed in. The sealant oozed out the back to keep it insulated. That's how easy it is to do the ground wire. Now we've got to do just a reminder, I hooked the what is the black and yellow coin comm into the blue grounds. Now I need to put the orange and black, which is the coin no, into the 4th pin location of this terminal plug. And I've got to get that actual terminal connector out of the inside of there to use it. Alright, now for the hard part. Or not really the hard part, but the challenging part. So I've got a terminal pin in here. It's just not crimped on a wire, and it's in the 4th location, and that's what I got to get out. There's a little tiny tab on this front here that's holding down. Sorry, this camera is not the greatest for being close-up shot, but there's a little tiny tab there, and I need to get it to where it doesn't block me from extracting that terminal. I'm going to lift it up just barely with this pin, the scratch all. So hard to get into the edge. Because I would like to shove a piece of paper under it. To hopefully help it bypass that terminal pin. Without breaking anything. Turning out to be quite the difficult task here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do this the way that I originally did it. I've got two picks. Push this out. Well, hey, I guess I pulled that tab up enough, it helped it slide out. Ta-da! Guess the paper helped after all. But like I said, don't pry too hard. You don't want to break that tab, because that tab is the only thing going to hold that terminal in and keep it seated properly. Alright. Now that I've got that terminal out that I can use, I will go ahead and strip this wire. Just enough to where it'll crimp in that terminal. Don't let any trash fall down in your, basically your computer system here. You don't want anything to get in any fans and block it up from cooling. Cause an own can of worms. Alright, so now I've got that terminal that I took out. I'm going to trim these wires just a little. They're a little too long. Now this terminal has already been crimped where the main wire should hold it. Sorry, you're not going to be able to see it as well. But I'm going to feed these other wires just through the part that normally crimps around the insulation. Let me spread those a little bit so I can get that wire in deeper. And I just spread it open a little with that pin. And we'll slide it right inside. Alright, so it's going to work for me. Go ahead and get my Molex crimpers up and ready. Now that I know it works, start with one of my smaller ones. And stick that wire right in the hole. And we'll crimp it down. And then I'm going to rotate up to a different location to crimp it even tighter. And one more time. I'm just graduating it up through spans in these Molex crimpers to make it crimp tighter and tighter each time as I compress it. you take, which is the orange and black, the COM no from the Embed card swiper system. Pay attention to which way you took your terminal out, because you need to put it back in the same way so it can catch and work with the system properly. I'll feed it up and in. Watch your wires, if they're sticking out of your terminal, that they don't catch on the side of this plug. And look in the tip of your plug, make sure you can see the terminal comes all the way to touch the tip, same equal with the others. Alright, everything seems all set up. Now I'm going to work on routing my wires back, zip tying everything nice and clean. Then we'll plug it up and we'll see how it goes, and we'll program everything. So I've got all my wires routed the way I want. I've got my terminal plug here. I'm going to go ahead and connect it back to this I/O board. Go ahead and go under these wires. Make sure not to bend any of your pins coming off the board. Make sure everything seats well. Alright. Now check everything on the bottom, and we'll go into some programming on the inside. Alright, as I said, this is a brand new scene machine, so first thing I got to do is I actually got to put some paper in it, so I'm going to load some paper as well, so in case my associates watch this video, they'll know how to do this without me around. Alright, so we'll power it up. We'll go ahead and pull this front clear plastic plate off, pulling out on the bottom a little bit. Then we'll press the door open button. Pull the door down. Go ahead and do the paper first. Pull out the 2 gear wheels. Untape them in the center, which you won't have to do this after the first installation. Get our paper. Pull out the center tube. Take these gear wheels, and they got a little pinch tab on this inside here. You pinch these as you load it, so the cork buffers, you'll see they'll recess. Hopefully you can see they recess. Same thing with the opposite side. And we'll pull off this sticker tab. I guess we'll pull from the direction that says pull, because it's not there's no adhesive there. And we'll drop it down in. And I need to feed the paper through enough just so it touches this black cover. Alright, now it's time to do our ribbons. We'll pull out the green tray so we can work with it.
nightmare?
No, just gotta go in with the longer side first. There we go.
What's up with the weird transfer cell?
That's just what it is to get it started. So I'm gonna start with the that longer side first, and then compress this side in. There you go.
Yeah, that's not so bad. That zinc cartridge to make it.
Yep.
Just slide from the top.
Yep.
So it's not even.
Should be it. Felt like it's next. Now it should cut 3 sheets. Now the final step is we just have to program this scene machine up to where we have another form of payment. So we'll go ahead and access it. Till our keypad comes up. Then you can enter in your code to your center. Once you've entered in the code to your center, you'll come back to this Apple Industries faceplate will come up. Then we will go down to our payment methods. And you can see that we have a secondary money acceptor. We'll go ahead and turn it to on. And pulse per currency, we're going to bring it up to 5. That's just what we're doing at our facility. So when it gets 1 pulse from our card swiper system, it'll know it's a $5 deposit, because our swipers are 1 swipe, 1 play. Then you should save and exit all your settings. And it brings it all back up. And let's see if we can get this thing to cooperate with us. Alright, so it read out. You can see I've got my $5 of money was put in. Everything just appears to be working out right. So Embed swiper system up and running, working great. Good luck with your scene machine.